Logan tilted his head and tongued the back of his teeth while he looked at the clothing display in front of him. A draft from the air conditioning above him cooled his forehead while he picked through a selection of scarves unwittingly lounging in the clearance shelf since the seasons had changed. He held up another thick garment and sighed through his nose, wondering how he planned to cover up his neck while dressing more conservatively than he was accustomed to. He wanted to make a good impression with the group he pictured meeting today, and his most modest summer scarf appeared a bit over the top and distracting. He flagged down an employee and asked if she could recommend anything light enough for him to wear without sweating. "Yeah, absolutely. Are you looking for something like what you have on right now?" "A little more quiet, actually. I'm trying to fit in." Logan gestured to it. "Say no more. I got you. Come with me." The rep led him. Logan checked the time while he followed her. The information he read said he could show up to the resort any time between noon and 4 in the afternoon, and the Werewolf was running early. After 4 in the afternoon, the resort would prohibit him from leaving until the full moon finished. Running late didn't worry the man. He'd only met 2 werewolves in his whole life so far. The first one attacked and infected him as a child. Logan created the second one 4 years ago by accident. The 2 of them had made amends since then. Logan managed to create a connection with his new werewolf despite the unideal circumstances. He wondered how he would introduce himself today. "Hi everyone, I'm Logan H, and I'm a werewolf. I've been attack-free for 4 years. Here are a few scarves that are much less visually loud and also don't retain heat too much. It's perfect for summer." The rep broke his inner monologue. "Now you won't go wrong with the middle brightness French gray. Take a look at the gold pattern under the light layer of mesh fabric. It's a little subdued, so the design becomes apparent in the sunlight but not indoors. It breathes well, and it belongs to our new collection. An invigorated classic." Logan admired the piece and wondered how he didn't notice these things before. "This one could complement your hair color and make it less distracting. Comes from our very own High Noon Burgundy. The color might remind you of heaviness, like winter, but you feel the light weight in your hand. What do you think? Want to try 'em on in the dressing room?" the employee offered. "Yeah, thanks." He went into the dressing room and closed the door. Logan wore a light plaid button-up short-sleeved shirt with pearl snap buttons. The bottom end of his scarf tucked between that and the plain black muscled shirt underneath. He slipped his shirt off and undid his scarf, revealing the faded ghost of a nasty, wide, grizzled scar on his neck. He often wore a scarf to cover it, depending on his mood. He covered it up today out of consideration for the other lichens he would meet, not knowing if having this old wound on display violated some werewolf taboo. He wanted the option to get comfortable at the right moment. He wanted to know the vibe of the place before he made any daring moves. He wondered if anyone else felt the way he did right then, standing in a dressing room on the way to meet other werewolves like him, with a cloth cuddle buddy to keep their secrets. Logan slipped his overshirt over the red scarf and let his hair back down. He agreed it looked good on him. It helped frame his face without distracting from his hazel eyes. The gray one was all right. He'd consider it later if he saw it on clearance. The same employee noticed Logan exiting the dressing room and asked him what he thought. "Yeah, I like this one. Can I keep it on and pay for it here?" "Sure, just let me ring it up for you. Did you have anything else you wanted? Maybe some sunglasses?" He shook his head slightly. "Nah, this is good. Thanks for the help, though." "Yeah, no problem. I'm glad you like it. It really does do a good job taking focus away from your Adam's apple. It won't stick out like a sore thumb this way." The rep smiled warmly and handed him a receipt. Thanks. You have a nice one, okay?" he replied as he turned for the door and saw the other accessories on racks and shelves. He realized then that he bought clothing for himself from the women's section of the store. His face flushed nearly as red as his scarf as he bit his lip and walked to the exit without even a backward glance. He continued to drive to the werewolf result and said to himself, maybe I should grow my beard out. While Logan traveled, another werewolf named Isaiah lay in bed at the resort. He looked relaxed, but he quietly stressed over the details on his clipboard. The unrestrained werewolf resort opened today. He couldn't put off any work for later. Everyone there anticipated the resort's first full moon, and everything had to be perfect. He'd finished with his inspections that morning without any serious issues. Still, his imagination reeled. Catastrophic scenarios ran through his mind. If an outsider or the Ranger Association found out someone got hurt at this place, they might use the event as proof against his mamby-pamby, treats and hugs method of treating lycanthropy. Isaiah couldn't change their minds, but he didn't have to help their case by having the very first full moon go badly. He lay the clipboard beside him and lay his neck down on the pillow. He thought about the vial of anti-anxiety potion he had in his satchel beside the bed. He'd gotten that from the apothecary who still uses old-world methods of medicine. It worked wonders, but he only kept one on hand. He didn't want to rely on it like a crutch, but that line of thinking came with a drawback. He also wanted to decide for himself when he needed the potion, but limiting his supply took some control away from him. Whether a challenge or an oversight, he adjusted to it. Isaiah breathed and placed his hand over his chest where his ribs met his stomach. He counted his breaths and relaxed his jaw for a while. He used to talk himself up in preparation for speeches, but without a solid wind propping him up, the mirror talk came across as a bit sarcastic. Instead, he decided to distract himself by taking in a set number of neutral sensations he had about him, starting with his vision. The walls, the ceiling fan, the window, the tree outside, and the desk. Then his hearing, the wind, people walking and talking in the hallway outside of his dorm room, the air conditioner clicking on, and his own breathing. Feeling. He felt the bed against his back, the slip-on work shoes gently embracing his feet, and the tightness of his chest muscles. Smell. The clean rural air pollen and all flowing through his nostrils. He smelled the spicy outdoor fragrance of freshly cut grass and the rustic aroma of burning hardwood. They're already preparing dinner. Isaiah could taste his spit and reminisce about the coffee he drank before. He grabbed his clipboard with renewed confidence and rose to his feet. He considered his duties done, and thus closed his role as a manager and opened his role as a customer. However, an unexpected situation forced the werewolf to put on his chairman hat again. When he exited his room, he heard a commotion in the lobby down the hall. A member of the staff recognized Isaiah and quickly ushered him toward the noise. "Sir, it's the media. I tried to get them to leave, but they're refusing." "I got this," the man grumbled as he walked diplomatically to the group of camera, pen, and microphone-holding journalists. This wasn't the first time, and now there were more than last time. "Folks, this is private property. You are trespassing. I'm going to have to ask—" "Isaiah, this is actually not private property." "Actually, it is. I own this property." "But the facility is government funded. That means that it's government property, and such we can be here." The chairman bit his tongue as he looked to the crowd. An entourage of tall gym rats held microphones like knives against Isaiah's face, while relatable internet personalities stood in view of the cameras. His nose twitched as he held back his urge to fight. He wasn't nearly as strong in his human form as his werewolf form. Even as they surrounded him, he stuck to his practice and acted stoically. "May I please see your press pass?"
"Here it is."
It was legit. Fuck. Okay, what questions do you have?
"How many werewolves are you expecting tonight?"
One asked while a cameraman walked over to a door to the entrance. They caught the staff setting up decorative watermelons and preparing garnishes for cocktails.
"Hey, over here, is that alcohol? Do you really think it's responsible to serve that to werewolves?"
The cameraman interjected before Isaiah had a chance to answer the first question. This comment caught the worried attention of the workers.
"Are you here of your own free will? Do you condone this?"
Isaiah walked purposely toward them. "Guys, please leave the staff alone. You're distracting them." "Right over there." One of the journalists pointed to a long fire pit. "That's where they put people's bodies after they kill them. It's right there. It has to be white hot to turn enamel teeth into dust." There are no limits with these people, Isaiah thought. "Excuse me, please. Don't..." "Hey, buddy." Another reporter cut him off. "Do you mind? I'm trying to get a story here and you're blocking the shot." No, that doesn't happen here." The chairman began losing his bearing. "Where does it happen?" "Yeah, where does that happen?" The microphones nearly touched his mouth and tempted him to bite. "We don't eat people. We don't kill them. We're getting ready for a cookout. Transformation takes a lot of calories and..." "Are you stocking up on energy so that you can hunt down humans?" "Why are you hunting humans?" Isaiah put his hand out and gestured for the group to disperse. The loaded questions were gouging him, raking across his soul like rusty nails. The reporter recoiled back and pointed to the chairman. "You saw that, right? Did you see that? He pushed me." "We are just trying to get your side of the story. Why are you mad?" "I didn't push you. Please leave. This behavior is not welcome here," Isaiah continued. "Why are you mad? We didn't do anything wrong." The werewolf shook his head. "Everybody, the time is up. Our guests will be arriving soon. And you are parked where they're supposed to be parking. I kindly ask for privacy at this time. Thank you." He learned the last part of what he said from Levi, the angel investor's personal fixer. "Isaiah, how many werewolves are going to be here tonight?" "No more questions." The chairman looked to an individual remaining once the journalists left, with their equipment along with their chatter. "Okay, unless you made a reservation, I'm going to have to ask you to leave too." The man wore a three-piece button-up suit with insignia cufflinks Isaiah didn't recognize. "I'm sorry, who are you with? I don't know your organization." The man lifted his eyebrows upon looking down his cufflinks, as though he gave them little thought anymore. He spoke in a raspy manner. Well, I'm not with those people. I'm very sorry to see what happened. That was unfair to you. My name's Diego Martinez. The Ranger Association is interested in your operation, but not in the sensationalized media sense." Isaiah's shoulders lowered against his side. A different defensiveness took over. Very softly, he asked, "Then in what sense are you interested?" He made an effort to pay attention to his surroundings, ready to react if he had to. Not many werewolves are eager to speak to a member of the Ranger Association, so I do appreciate the opportunity, immediate circumstances aside. Some of the more, let's say, creative members of the association are speculating about this new illegal species treatment facility. Now, I don't think there's any basis for what's going on with these theories, so I'd like to ask you about some of the wild rumors. See if you can help with that. Do you mind? The werewolf's lower lip quivered while he wondered what he could want. He looked back on all the work he'd done and imagined it all getting demolished, or worse. turned into another place like the one he escaped. By any chance, do you have a warrant? I feel that there is a misunderstanding. I'm not a police officer. I understand that there is a strong link between us and them, because they have us handle a wide range of natural concerns. Is that what lichens are to you? What natural concerns? Was the term illegal species too obvious? Please. The suited man tilted his head and softly reassured Isaiah. I endeavor to better manage people's fears about werewolves. Yellow journalists like these can be counterproductive to both of our organizations. That's easy for you to say. People love Rangers. You guys are local heroes, good boys. You're 99% correct, but truth be told, we're nothing more than shopping mall cops. The respect people have for us is just derived from the fear they have from the police. We could do everything right, but if we upset the police union, donations to our cause dry up for a while. What I'm saying is, I would like you to appreciate the risk I'm taking right now. What do you want? Isaiah sighed. Your success, the agent replied. It stunned the chairman. What? Do you not want that too? No, of course I do. I didn't expect... You were expecting me to arrest him, right? Maybe ambush your guests, bag and tag them? Yes, actually. But I heard you right, didn't I? You want my success? I do. I think more than you realize. It's true that this facility wants to take a friendlier approach to lycanthropy. The program is intended to help people live with the condition rather than attempt to cure it. I wrote many letters to Congress about the possibility over the years, and I get hit with the same wall every time. There's no evidence at this time to support my thesis. So, you want us to prove you right? I do. And if you manage to prove yourself to me, these people will still be hard to persuade, but at least I'll have to come up with a different lie. Okay, but why werewolves? Why you? Isaiah could see in the distance a guest arrive and be accosted by the journalist still hanging around. Oh no, I'm very sorry, sir, but I do have to deal with this. Not a problem. Here, take my business card. I'll deal with them. The Rangers have good lawyers. But while I have your ear, I wanted to ask you about something. The man dug into his pocket and pulled out a picture. We found this at an illegal species camp, which had a gruesome, downright grisly escape attempt. Guards were found murdered, even pursued as they fled the scene. There could be someone very dangerous out there. Seems to go by an alias. See for yourself. The picture showed a concrete wall with blood smeared on it to say Fenrir. Isaiah gasped slightly. Does it ring any bells with you? The chairman looked to the agent and back to the picture. It doesn't. Oh, my God. Who could have done this? This is horrible. Those poor people. Martinez nodded his head solemnly. It is very unfortunate for them. Do you think this person could be here today? Isaiah asked. Or are you trying to find the other survivors? The agent's face changed. Other survivors? Isaiah, could you clarify something for me? Were you a survivor of this attack? Did you see it happen? Isaiah realized he slipped, but tried to recover. I wasn't there at all. I'm sorry I can't be more helpful. That's okay. It clears up that rumor. Someone at the office swears up and down that one of the chairmen here is a werewolf themselves. The agent nodded. Let me know if you learn anything. I know that not all werewolves are dangerous all the time. I'm not so naive to think that they're all monsters. But this one in particular could be real dangerous. That or an outsider broke in. Importantly, any information that you could narrow down our investigation with would be appreciated. It would allow us to do some damage control for your kind's sake. My kind? Yes. Anyone who supports the equitable treatment of werewolves tends to be placed in a certain category. I hope to hear from you, but I'll handle the reporters. He waved and turned before stopping. Oh, just one more thing. What is it? I noticed you have some scarring on your calf. Can you remember what that was from? A bobcat did that. Ah, of course. Now that you mention it, it makes perfect sense. There are quite a few of them in the area after all. If you like, we can manage your rabies shots data the way we do with a large population of people. I just want to remind you that we offer that as a service. Teamwork makes the dream work, so they say. Thanks. I'll keep that in mind. Isaiah froze in his tracks and considered the evidence. In truth, Isaiah was the person who caused the incident, from the inside. He was the one that smeared blood on the wall. Now the Ranger Association was onto his scent. He thought that having no witnesses meant no one could identify him, but the magnitude of his doing caught the attention of a more competent investigative body. Mr. Chairman, are you okay? One of the employees brought the man back to reality. She looked genuinely concerned and offered him a bottle of cold water. Isaiah smiled at the thoughtful gesture and accepted the water. I'll be okay. That was just a lot. Those people. Yeah, thanks for taking care of that. We all know you did your best. Thanks. I tried. Are you guys ready for me to change roles now? Yes, Mr. Chairman, we are prepared to take the reins for the night. We can handle everything from here. Don't worry about a thing, she said confidently. That is fantastic. If you don't mind, I'd like you to refer to me as Isaiah, especially while the other werewolves are around. I don't want them to censor themselves on my account. Of course, not a problem, Isaiah. The werewolf smiled and climbed up onto a massive boulder with a flat-top surface and sat down with his cold water. A lurching leg of wooden stairs descended from the resort down to the parking lot. From the rock, Isaiah could see it all. Logan arrived and parked his car in the shade next to a couple other vehicles. He didn't see any signs to indicate if this parking was for guests or for staff. He heard talking nearby and checked it out. Maybe they knew something. He grabbed his luggage out of the back seat and carried it on his back. You do not have permission to film me. Get out of my way. A woman in her 30s with tattoos on her exposed arms tried to brush off a reporter and their cameramen. Logan looked around in vain for an alternate entrance.
We just want to ask you a question. What business do you have here?
This is harassment, and you can't do that, the woman said. Logan noticed one of the tattoos on the woman's arm and admired it for a moment. It was a potted plant with a root breaking out of the bottom, with an identification tag which read, Be Ungovernable. He smiled to himself until he realized that there was something under the dark color of the root. There was no way he couldn't recognize the scars from werewolf teeth marks. In his amazement, he almost missed the journalist addressing someone behind him.
Hey, you can't film us. You do not have permission. You do not have a press pass.
The reporter held up their press pass in its lanyard. Hey, excuse me, bud. Thanks. A man whispered to Logan as he slipped by. Hours at the gym sprouted from the man's t-shirt sleeves as he held his cell phone up to record the interaction. The moment this man brought his phone camera to the press pass, the reporter let it hang from their neck and changed their stance to cover it. The man lifted the phone to view the reporter's face. You signed a statement of understanding when you applied for your pass. The Accountability in Journalism clause states that you will allow the public to record you while you carry out the duties described in your pass.
Our camera isn't even filming. He's just holding it while we get to the van,
they replied. The muscled man narrowed his lips. Then why are you pointing it at me?
I'm not trying to.
Point it at the ground.
Well, that's uncomfortable.
The chiseled man cracked his knuckles. Bro, I'll show you uncomfortable. The reporter gasped and looked at the cameraman. Did you get that? The man holding the camera nodded and affirmed he did indeed catch that. Just then there was a shout from up the stairs. The agent in the three-piece suit was pocketing his cell phone. Now y'all listen. If you're not staying here overnight, you have to leave now. No more questions. And anyone staying here must stay at the resort regardless of the resort's policy. This conversation ends now. And you, Martinez pointed to the media workers. We have some folks coming to review your footage for compliance with regulations. There was some muttering about. Which one of you guys called the Rangers? Logan followed behind the other guests while the woman mouthed obscenities to them. Logan looked on the small side around regular people, but around these two it seemed much more, like a set of parents with their teenager in tow. Upon hearing about the Rangers, Logan's hair stood up on end. He couldn't help but look, and when he noticed the telltale insignia on the agent's cufflinks, the werewolf turned away and hid his face in his long, rust-colored hair. The muscled man turned to Logan and paused to climb. Hey, man, he said in a gentler tone than he was talking to the reporter. I want to start on the right foot. That wasn't any of our faults, so I kind of want to try our first meeting again. Is that cool? Logan smiled a bit awkwardly. Yeah, that's cool. My name's Logan H., and I'm a werewolf. He waited for the joke to land, but the two didn't pick up on it. I thought what you said to the reporter was interesting. I didn't know that. Oh, do you mean the accountability clause? I don't actually know if that's true, but it's pretty convincing, right? He chuckled. I'm Brad, by the way. It's nice to meet you. He shook Logan's hand. The woman put her hand out as well. I'm Heather. I like your scarf. It looks good on you. Thanks, Heather. Logan smiled, warming up to the two. I like your tattoos, the pot one especially. Yeah, I like that too. I needed to put something with texture over it so that you couldn't see the bite mark. You know the one I'm talking about. Heather looked to her arm and then to Brad. Oh, yeah. I guess that was the case. I recognize the pattern from my own. It's why I wear the scarf, actually. So, you are maybe a little shy about it. I mean, I'm going to let you talk about it on your terms. We just met, and I'm not going to be like, show me your scars, she joked. Logan laughed and said in the same mock tone, tell me about the scariest moment of your life, stranger. Like, come on, isn't that a bit intimate? Wine and dine me first. He got a laugh out of that, and it boosted his confidence. So you probably didn't know there's going to be so many stairs, Brad said. I don't know either. It's fine. Can I help you carry your bag? It's kind of a long way down. I don't want to see you trip and fall with all that weight. Logan's pride wanted to decline the help, but a sensible part of him knew it would be difficult. Yeah, that's really nice of you. Thank you. He took the backpack off and handed it to the man, only for him to clearly underestimate how heavy it was. Whoa, you okay? Yeah, dude, I just didn't expect it to be this heavy. What, did you bring your whole house? Brad chuckled and got a better handle on the baggage. It wasn't too much, but it was surprising. Oh, it's something that helps me whenever I transform. It's a muzzle. It keeps me from biting people so they're safe around me. I got mitts too. They're really comfortable, but yeah, also big. The three of them got to the top of the stairs and saw a team that welcomed them. 5 people were awaiting their arrival, with colorful Hawaiian leis to place around each of their necks. Aloha, traveler. Aloha, traveler, they said to each of them. Logan had bright pink and purple flowers for his lei, as well as Heather. She looked to him and hoped to correct the team only for them to start their welcome presentation. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unrestrained Werewolf Resort. We are proud of you for your choice to come here tonight. My name is Nicole Bowen, and I am a human. I am also a chairman on the board of directors here in charge of guest experiences. We welcome you to the grand opening of the Unrestrained Grounds for Lycans, or if you prefer, werewolves. We have prepared for you comforts and amenities suitable for your human form and also the form of your very special animal. We are excited to meet them, just from a safe distance." The comic got a few nods and chuckles from the three standing there. Logan noticed a fourth join them, a 5'11" man with short but ruffled brown hair, broad shoulders, and a farmer's tan. He bowed his head to the greeter so they could place a lei around his neck. He gave them an encouraging thumbs up and a charming smile. This man was wearing an olive green button-up and a pair of orange beach shorts. Logan found himself looking at the person's exposed calf, noticing the healed-over slash mark on his otherwise sun-tanned skin. The man glanced over and met his eyes with Logan's. He nodded as the greeter approached. "What name is your reservation under, miss?" He had a small gift bag in his hand and a key of ring fobs. It's Logan Harper." "Thank you. Here's your room key. I'll be right back. I think I have the wrong bag." Okay." He looked and saw the other three walking through the wooden archway toward the building with a bonfire in the background already crackling. The tattooed couple had containers of sunscreen they applied to themselves and each other, while the man fanned himself with a brochure. They didn't ask that man's name. Did he call ahead or something? The greeter who placed the pink flowers on Logan came to him with a larger gift bag and a different lei with blue and green flowers. "My apologies, sir. I gave you the wrong colored lei. Please allow us to correct that and give you your size modesty garment." Inside the bag was a very large folded-up navy blue poncho, a bottle of sunscreen, a brochure for the resort, a raffle ticket for later, and 2 small vials of liquid. One of them was labeled "for feeling," and the other "for healing." There was a brief description, but Logan smiled a bit awkwardly to the greeter about the lei. "I mean, do I have to wear that one instead? It's just you've already given me this one. Do you think that I should?" "That's up to you. No problem either way. I just didn't want to give you the wrong impression, sir. Is that correct?" Logan blushed a bit and chuckled. "You're fine. I am male. I just thought you wanted to color coordinate. If it's okay, I want to keep this one. I like it." "I'm glad to hear, and the rest of the resort is just through that door. You can find your room door along the walkway surrounding the courtyard. Would you like me to take your baggage there?" "Yeah, that would be great. Thank you." Logan noticed her slight strain when she lifted the backpack and realized that it was heavier than she thought. He didn't want to embarrass her by watching, and he was too excited to meet the others. They stepped into an area with stained cedar floorboards and shade from tall trellises. The shade felt more comfortable than the sun, but a swamp cooler at the far end of the room did much more work. The short werewolf felt a chill from the temperature change. The breeze from the fan kept the scent of the cedar from being overpowering. That was an important thing to consider, especially at night when the lichens gained a heightened sense of smell. The couple were at the bar on the side of the room opposite of the swamp cooler, looking over a drink menu and chatting with a bartender. The brown-haired man was already seated at one of the tables, sipping from a tiki glass. There were 2 paper bowls of popcorn in front of him. Logan approached and smiled. "Hey there. Can I join you?" "Be my guest. Would you like some popcorn?" "Are you sure? I wouldn't want to impose." "Nah, you're good. I just picked it up so I wouldn't have to stand up soon." "Well, thank you." Logan slid a bowl toward himself and snacked. "So this is exciting, isn't it? I've never been to a place like this. Must have been a lot of work to put together." "Oh yeah, I bet." The man brushed salt off his hands before reaching out to shake Logan's hand. "My name's Isaiah. It's a pleasure to meet you." "I'm Logan. Same. So this place popped out almost overnight." Just a couple months ago, I was hearing about it, and now, boom, it's here. Construction must have been really fast. Isaiah nodded. Yeah, it sure does feel like that. I noticed the same thing. Smart, though. You don't want to drag your feet once you get the funding. You want to get started doing good things for lichens as soon as possible. He placed his drink down and leaned forward to talk with his hands. The people coming here today may have gone to one of those really bad illegal species facilities. It makes all the difference in the world to them. Oof, yeah. This is such a nice alternative. I'm glad it's here. Isaiah thought he saw a forlorn expression on Logan's face and inhaled to speak. Were you... Never mind. What? Oh, I was never at one of those camps, if that's what you're wondering. Well, they're a little bit more sophisticated than camps. Some chain link fencing and barbed wire isn't enough to keep people like us from leaving. Right. I haven't been, so I don't know. Logan looked at the other man's drink. What do you got there? Is it good? This is a one-eyed Willie. It's pretty great if you like citrus and pineapple. That sounds amazing, honestly. I think I'm going to go check it out. Logan stood up and went to the bar where the couple were getting their drinks. He asked what they got, and the muscle man said he ordered a ginger brat. The short werewolf said he didn't realize he was on the menu before he ordered the pineapple citrus drink he heard about. While it was being prepared, Logan checked his phone and sent a text to his father, who helped arrange for him to be there. Hi there. I'm at the resort. It's really nice. I'm glad you helped me out. I love you, Dad. Soon after, his phone buzzed. That's wonderful to hear. I want to hear all about it when you get home. I love you too. Have fun, son. Logan didn't expect the text back so soon. His father worked overnights, so he thought he'd be sleeping. He took his drink back to the table where he was sitting. More resort workers set out a buffet line and prepared for dinner. The couple were looking at their bags, comparing their transformation clothes. They really thought of everything, didn't they? Do you think we're supposed to wear these when we start shifting, or... What's that transition period going to be like? Brad wondered out loud. Yeah, I heard them call it a modesty garment, Logan said and looked down at his. Mine's blue, what'd you guys get? Heather held up hers. It was taller and had straps over the chest. This one's black. It looks pretty baggy, but probably not as baggy as Brad's is. He's a pretty big werewolf. Brad pulled out his mighty garment, which got a couple of impressed wows. But then Logan pulled the one out of his bag, made for him. He held it up as high as he could, but the bottom of it was still in the bag on the floor. Heather shook her head in disbelief. That can't be right. How is that possible? However, Brad nodded. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the other styles that you can get. You could have selected when you filled out the form. Mine doesn't have a top. I got this style because I want my chest exposed. I need to do that. He might not want that. Plus, you saw his big backpack. That had to be just about the size of your whole torso, right, bud? Yeah, Logan answered. And you probably have a change of clothes, toiletry bag, snacks, but mostly that metal muzzle. It's massive. Isaiah seemed to struggle with his drink for a moment and placed it on the table with both hands. Is that true? Logan nodded. My shifted form is really big. People don't realize a small person can have a big werewolf form. No. I know that. I was talking about the metal muzzle. You brought one here? It's not completely metal. It's lined with leather on the sensitive parts for my comfort. Logan looked ill, which made Logan anxious that he might have offended the other lichen. He was speechless and considered the labeled vials in his welcome bag, reaching down to take a better look at the instructions. He thought he'd find his voice in the process, but Heather found hers first. We all have different ways. No one accompanied him here with it. It's not strapped, it's not locked to him. I don't know, though. Did someone force you to bring it? I brought it on my own. Isaiah nodded. I get that too. I didn't want to give the impression that you had to, he lamented. Logan's eyes opened in realization. Do you work here? What makes you think that? When you came in with us, you were late, but you already knew where to go. They didn't ask your name, and you haven't looked at your outfit like you're already familiar. Plus, you have a tan on your leg where you were slashed with claws. A tan as fresh as on your arms, neck, face, ears. It just looks like you spent a decent amount of time outside without worrying about someone challenging you. And all of that had to happen in the timeline this place was being constructed. Okay, I work here. But tonight I'm not working. I'm the only actual werewolf that works here. But I can't work on full moons, which is ironic because the nights were open. Rest of the time there's a lot of groundskeeping, planning, a little budgeting. There's a lot of background work that'll happen between moons. Well, that's awesome, Heather scoffed. You have a boss that doesn't fight you about your days off? If I were to tell my boss I can't come in because I'm turning into a werewolf, he'd call the Rangers immediately, right on the spot. Well, yeah, I mean, they still have to show up to work anyway. I don't know, we'll see how that goes. Just please do not make me into a walking suggestion box. Brad looked up for a moment. That's fair, but can I ask how this place keeps the lights on? It can't all be from a reasonably priced cash bar. There is an angel investor who took care of most of the initial cost of creating this place. They're very careful about their identity. They probably don't want cameras in their face like what happened to you guys. Oh, you saw that. Brad fiddled with a lime wedge from the rim of his glass, squeezing the juice into his drink. I think I may have lost my cool for a moment. That was regrettable. Honey, Heather's face changed. Fuck that. All of them deserve worse. You held back. Wait, what happened? I just want to know the context. Isaiah leaned forward more. Logan looked up from the vial he was reading. I only caught the tail end of it. They were recording the moment we pulled our car into the lot. They were pointing their cameras into our car like they had search warrants. That guy didn't even wait until the engine was off before he stuck that fucking microphone in my face. Logan made a disgusted face, and Heather made a point to let him know that that was the right reaction. He touched my cheek with this phallic microphone and smeared it against my skin while he asked if I worked out to make myself more tempting for werewolves. Like, yeah, and I use barbecue sauce as lotion for the same reason. Get out of here, sweetie, you were justified. More than justified. That guy had an ass kicking coming to him. I know what you're saying. They were out of line. That's why I grabbed my phone. You notice they were quick to get out of there once I started recording. She sighed and asked why their kind always had to be the better person, especially to people who keep telling them that they're the sick ones. Isaiah clenched his jaw, while Logan wondered if his car was safe, if his dad was safe since the license plate could be tracked back to him. He pulled out his phone and wrote up a text to his dad to be careful today, and told him about the situation. Isaiah inhaled and sighed. What's done is done. I just hope they don't come back. There are more people coming. I'm told we have a capable security detail tonight. That's all I know. When I asked, I was told not to worry about it since they have it handled. I'd rather not get into the minutiae of it, but everyone here should be completely safe. Hopeful smiles crossed the couple's mouths before they lifted their glasses. Cheers to that. The other two followed suit, getting back into a cheery mood.